All right, so if you play low-stakes poker, you've probably spent hours and hours studying all the complex strategies. But what if I told you the biggest wins, the real edge, comes from a place most players completely ignore? Today, we're going to break down 3 strategies that honestly can totally transform your results at the table.
Hand ranges, bluffing frequencies, optimal bet sizing. I mean, it sounds familiar, right? This is where we all pour our energy. We think the entire game is won or lost in these really complex, in-the-moment decisions.
But what if, for the games that you're actually playing, like 1-2, 1-3, all that stuff matters way less than you think? What if the real, consistent edge is hiding somewhere else entirely?
And boom, there it is. This is the absolute core truth for low-stakes live poker. Your biggest wins don't come from outthinking some poker genius. No, they come from the simple, yet really powerful, decisions you make before you even get dealt a hand. So let's break them down.
Our very first overlooked strategy is table selection. And look, this isn't just some small tweak you can make. This is, without a doubt, the single most profitable decision you can make in a poker room. Most players just wander in and take the first available seat, and that is a massive, costly mistake. So this really shows the choice you have. A profitable table isn't the one filled with the best players, it's the one filled with mistakes. You want to look for the table on the left. Lots of players are just limping in, just calling, which creates these big, juicy pots. It's social. People are having a good time. Now that table on the right, the quiet, serious one full of grinders who all know each other, avoid it like the plague. That is where your profit margin goes to die.
You could pretty much boil it down to this simple, powerful rule. Your goal isn't to prove you're the best player there by battling other good players. Your goal is to make money. And the money comes from players who are there to gamble and have fun, not to play perfectly. That fun, social table, that's where you want to be.
Now, this is a question you have to ask yourself constantly throughout the night. A great game can churn into a terrible one in just an hour. The fun player might get up and leave, a couple of tight players might sit down. You have to stay vigilant.
Seriously, let this sink in for a second. Your biggest financial leak in poker probably isn't how you played a specific hand. It's staying in a bad game for way too long. Getting up to change tables isn't quitting. It's a professional move. It's the decision that separates long-term winners from everyone else.
So that leads us perfectly into our second strategy because it builds right on top of the first. Okay, you've found a great table? Fantastic. But your work is not done. Now you have to find the great seat. Where you sit is just as critical. This is the one rule you have to remember. You want the players who are making the most mistakes, the ones who are calling way too much or playing super erratically, you want them on your immediate right. And why is that? Because it means you get to act after them in almost every single hand.
This old poker saying sums it up perfectly. Since the action moves in a circle, having those loose, unpredictable players on your right means you get to see what they do before you have to act. This gives you an incredible amount of information and control. And as a result, the money just naturally flows from them to you.
So here's your action plan. As soon as you sit down, don't even worry about your first hand. Just watch. Scan the table. Identify the 1 or 2 players you really want to play pots with. And if they aren't on your right, your very first move should be to walk over to the floor person and get your name on the seat change list. Do it immediately.
And that brings us to our third and final overlook strategy. And honestly, this is the one that costs people the most money. Session discipline. Because tired poker is and always will be losing poker, period.
You know, we forget this all the time. We think of it as just a card game, but it's really a mental marathon. Every single decision you make, from calculating odds, to reading opponents, to managing your own emotions, it all drains your cognitive energy.
And this chart shows exactly what happens. For the first few hours, you're sharp, you're focused, you're playing your A game. But as that session drags on, your decision-making quality just plummets. You stop noticing important details, you start playing a little looser, and you make those emotional calls you know you shouldn't.
And here is the absolutely devastating part. You can play brilliantly for 4 hours, build up a really nice profit, and then give it all back, and maybe more, in the last hour just because you're tired. Playing your C game, even for just a little while, can completely erase all the hard work your A game put in. You have to reframe your entire mindset around this quote. Winning players don't measure success by how many hours they log. They measure it by the quality of the hours they play. You have to protect your mental energy like it's your most valuable asset because, well, it is.
So let's wrap all this up into your winning blueprint. While everyone else is lost in complex game theory, you can build a massive, massive edge just by focusing on these 3 fundamentals that actually matter at low stakes.
It really is this simple. You just have to master these 3 skills. Become a master of table selection, become a hunter for the best seat, and become a disciplined guardian of your own mental state.
And this is the thought I really want to leave you with. Winning at low-stakes poker isn't about being some tactical genius. It's about putting yourself in the most profitable situations possible, over and over again. Out-select your opponents by choosing the best games. Out-position them by getting the right seat. And outlast them by knowing when it's time to walk away. Master that, and you'll already be ahead of 90% of the players at the table.